Hello everyone, this is Lucy05 and welcome to the Government Central Toy Review. And today's toy we're looking at the 2012 release by Hasbro of the G.I. Joe celebrating the 30th anniversary action figure review. And today's action figure review we're looking at the Dreadnok Battle Set 7-pack, and we'll be focusing on one of the figures review that will be Zanzibar. Now I got this straight from Big Bad Toy Store. As you can see at the bottom section of the packaging, here is the sticker label that's stated limited edition bigbadtoystore.com exclusive for $49.90, which is actually not bad pricing for a 7-figure pack here. Now let's take a look at the front portion of the packaging where the figure is located. Here we have the Zanzibar figure, and next to him we have all his accessories placed on one side. We have his cutlass on one side, a flintlock pistol, a revolver pistol, and a knife. Now, at the back portion of the packaging, this is his file card, and he's placed, well, on the side of the box itself, at the back portion of the box. Top corner here, we have the Cobra logo. Here is stated code name Zanzibar, Dreadnok, name Morgan Teach. Here we have the Dreadnok logo itself, rather than the character artwork for, well, the figure, which Hasbro is trying to be cheap there. Now, birthplace, as stated here, I'm going to bring it up closer a little bit, let the camera focus a little bit. Now, birthplace, Cayman Islands, primary weapon, cutlass, combat gear, pistol, knife. There's also another weapon that they neglect to mention, the flintlock pistol, or the revolver, but you know, this is Hasbro anyway. At the bottom section is the write-up stating Zanzibar was raised on a garbage scow and spent most of his youth picking pockets on crowded piers. He tried river piracy, stock fraud, and smuggling, but they were too much like real work and not nasty enough for his taste. His lucky break came when he delivered bootleg gas to a filling station owned by Zartan and was immediately invited to join the Dreadnok gang. Very nice. So, without further ado, let's open up this packaging and molest the figure. Be right back. And we're back after removing the figure and the rest of the stuff out from the packaging. Now let's take a look at the Zanzibar's accessories, starting off with the base stand. Now it comes with a nicer base stand here. That's based on the 25th anniversary style with a nice little logo on the top, with 2 pegs for the figure to stand on. Nameplate there stated Zanzibar, and at the back bottom section of the base stand stated at 2007 Hasbro made in China. Now Zanzibar here comes with a decent amount of accessories, but some of them are actually old stuff. First comes with a revolver pistol here. Now the revolver pistol here is not painted at all, made of a light grey or silver plastic material color, and the mold here is nothing new. It's based on the 25th anniversary of the Iron Grenadier Destro. As you can see, the revolver pistol is also quite thin and is meant to fit onto, well, Zanzibar's left side of his thigh with a gun holster there. Details are nice, but nothing new. Then he comes with a, well, a rather interesting weapon, a flintlock pistol, well, just like any other pirates would. Now the flintlock pistol here is quite nicely done. It's actually made of a light grey or silver plastic material color, but the brown parts, as you can see, the handle and the bottom section of the flintlock pistol body itself, or the barrel itself, is painted in brown. Now the mold here, I would say it's new, but I wouldn't be surprised that Hasbro actually took this from, well, Pirates of the Caribbean toys itself, because you will notice that there is quite a nice number of details. As you can see, the top section here is quite nicely done with the details, but the trigger finger here is one solid piece. You have the finger guard and the trigger itself, but they're all one single piece there, solid piece. So the figure, it has a trigger finger, but it can't slip through. I don't think the flintlock pistol is actually meant for the figure in the first place, considering that the handle is a bit too short and the way it's molded doesn't feel right that it's really meant for the figure at all. Now, the details are quite nice. You can actually store this on his vest. It actually has another gun holster to store the flintlock pistol. Then come with another accessory, which is a small little knife, which just fell off from my palm. Small little knife here, which is made of a, well, the same plastic material as the pistol and the flintlock pistol. The revolver and the flintlock pistol is made of a light grey or silver plastic material color, and the gold part, as you can see here at the hilt and the bottom section of the handle, is painted in gold, and the handle is actually painted in dull white. And yes, you can store this at the back portion of the vest itself. There's a knife sheath there, and the mold here is actually nail mold, though the design of the knife doesn't seem to look very realistic because the end of the edge of the tip of the knife itself is quite blunt. It's not sharp enough. And yes, the figure can hold it quite well. It's quite thin actually. Now, here we have his cutlass. Now, the cutlass is also made of a light grey or silver plastic material color, but the handguard here is painted in gold and the handle is painted in black. Now, the cutlass here, the mold of the cutlass is nothing new. This belongs to the 25th anniversary of Iron Grenadier Destro. Again, Destro stuff. Now, what's interesting to note is that there's no way for you to store the cutlass onto Zanzibar's body. You can store the rest of the 3 weapons, but the cutlass, which I have no idea why. They didn't give him a sheath to begin with, a sword sheath or cutlass sheath. Next, we have a new item, which actually made of a, I would say, dark grey plastic material color with a little bit of paint job onto the top section of the vest itself, like the grenade here, painted in silver. The large buttons are painted in magenta or purple. As you can see, the shoulder pads at the edges of the shoulder pads is lined up with silver linings, even in the top section as well. The back of the vest itself, or the shoulder pads itself, the buttons are also painted in purple or magenta. Now, the knife sheath at the back here is actually a separate piece. It detaches from the peg hole quite easily. Now, the entire thing is also made the same plastic material color as the gear itself, except for the body is painted in black, and the bottom section and the top section here is painted in gold, at least very dull gold. And the mold here is all new stuff, very nice. This section of the holster is meant to place in the flintlock pistol. Got the belt here, which is just a little bit of details. There are a lot of rivets going on. The back portion here, I'm not too sure why they didn't bother to make the knife sheath as a single mold for the entire gear, rather than making it a separate piece here. And why not just glue it in the first place? It's just beyond me, because it tends to pop off really easily. And what I really don't like the design of this, the shoulder pad here, is because once you place in the figure with this back portion of the belt itself, that's the peg here, and this is the peg hole that plugs in the gear. Once you plug it in, right, everything else is quite tightly secure except for this shoulder piece here, which has nothing to secure it properly. It tends to go over the shoulder or go behind the shoulder. It just goes all over the place. It's not really well done here. I really wish they put in another strap from the front, just like how it does on the back here, rather than having this thing flailing around. The design is alright, but the execution is not really well done. Now, let's take a look at the figure's paint job. Again, majority of the parts here are not painted at all. Like the torso, it's made of a flesh tone plastic material color, which is not painted. The abs here is also not painted, but the crotch area is painted in, I would say this would be very dark gray, and the bottom section of the crotch area itself is painted in a swamp green colors. The head itself, the hair, is painted in black. The entire head is made of a flesh tone plastic material color. So the hair here is painted in black. The eye patch is also painted in black. Two of the eyebrows is painted in black as well. The pupil is painted in black, but the background of the eye itself is painted in white. Mustache is painted in black. The row of teeth is painted in white, and a small little goatee painted in black. Upper bicep on one side is not painted at all, entirely made of a flesh tone plastic material color. And at the back here, we have his tattoo with cross, I would say a cross cutlass, and at the bottom a skull in black. Now, for the rest of the arms itself, again made of a flesh tone plastic material color, but the forearms here is actually painted in a bit of gold. You got the forearm guard there. Now, for the thigh section, it's actually made of a, well, storm green plastic material color, but on this joint here, just above the knees, is actually painted in dark green, and the rivets are painted in black. This section of the wrappings here is painted in black. On the other side here, same paint job, dark green with rivets going on the top, black rivets, but this one is painted in purple or magenta. Now the whole entire holster here is made of a black plastic material color. Now for the knee all the way down, this entire section here is painted in gold, because the whole entire leg is actually made of a dark green plastic material color. Same goes as this section here. So the entire boot section here at the back is painted in black, and the straps are painted in brown. On the other side, this entire boot section here is painted in black, and that's about it. And for the boots itself, the bottom section of the feet itself is not painted at all, made of a black plastic material color. And that's about it with the paint job. The colors is alright actually. I actually like the colors. At least it doesn't look quite boring. There's quite a number of colors there, but not too sure why magenta is being painted onto the figure itself. I really like the simple tattoo, but anything from bottom down, it looks interesting. Anything from bottom up, it looks quite bland looking. At least the head is actually not bad with the colors, despite that it's mostly in black, but there's a bit of details there. Now the figure's mold. Now the head mold here is the only thing that's new for this entire figure. The rest of the body parts are all reused molds. The torso, hand there, waist joint here is actually belonging to the Rise of Cobra, Arctic Assault, Storm Shadow. Even the scarring is the same. Now, if that's not bizarre enough, the entire pair of arms here is also a reused part from the 25th anniversary of Storm Shadow. Again, they use Storm Shadow parts again. And if you recognize the bottom section of the legs itself, the entire section of the legs, including the bottom section of the feet here, this is also reused part from the 25th anniversary of the Iron Grenadier Destro. Because, well, all pirates like to wear this kind of leather, leggings there. Furthermore, it's also single jointed for the legs itself, plus the fact that it uses the same gun holster to store in the same pistol that came along with the same mold of the Iron Grenadier Destro. So, for the body, nothing that really special. The legging parts there is actually not bad of a choice, considering he is a pirate, but I really wish that the arms have something special, but, well, at least reuse some of the molds that's actually interesting. And for the torso part, this whole entire part is commonly used because they wanted to add in the scars. But for the head mold, I really don't like the head mold. It doesn't resemble anything like the old Zanzibar figure back in the late 80s. Instead of a ponytail that given to Zanzibar, the original figure, for, well, the G.I. Joe series, of course. The original figure actually has ponytail. This guy actually has a mullet instead of a ponytail. And the top section of the head here, at the forehead here, the hair is kind of pointing upwards. So it looks kind of weird. It looks nothing like the old Zanzibar figure. Well, from the front section of the head, the face there's a slight, very slight resemblance. But when you look at on the side, it reminds me of some sort of street thug. Of course, he still has his eye patch going on that goes all the way to the back there, so it's still not bad. But the eyes on one side, that's really small, really thin and very small. And why does he has to open his mouth like that? Like he's, I don't know, it looks like he has some problems. The mustache there is not really well done. It's not as thick as I thought it would be. And he has this goatee here. What really I really can't stand it when the figure, the head sculpt, has really little resemblance to the original character for Zanzibar. They can't even do a ponytail. They have to give him a mullet. That's one thing I really can't stand. His face doesn't even remotely look like him either. So let's take a look at the figure's articulation. Now the head can actually pivot a little bit up and down a little bit, or side to side a little bit, and turn 360 degrees. Torso here can turn 360 degrees, go side to side as well. Belly able to go forward and back. Shoulder joints here can turn 360 degrees and lift the arms this high. Elbow joints here can bend this far, back and turn 360 degrees. Wrist joint here, there's a swivel joint that turns 360 degrees, no new wrist joints of course. Hip joints here can move forward, back, to the side. What I really don't like about this figure, because one section of the hip joint here is also very loose. Now, he has only single jointed knee because it uses the Iron Grenadier Destro, so no double joint there. It only bends this far. Not too sure why they designed the Iron Grenadier Destro in that way in the first place, where you can actually do a double joint there, but whatever. And ankle joint that can pivot downwards all the way down like so, all the way up and turn 360 degrees. Now let's fully equip Zanzibar with all the accessories, starting off with his vest here. Now, like I mentioned before, the vest is kind of flimsy due to the right-sided shoulder pad there. Furthermore, I really don't like the knife sheath because it tends to pop off quite easily. Now I'll have to plug in the button, which is a little bit annoying. As you can see here, it just flops all over the place. It doesn't stay on. Try to adjust everything here. Place in a small little revolver pistol right into his holster here. Small little knife at the back. His flintlock pistol, which doesn't fit all the way in, and his cutlass. There's one thing I also forgot to mention. Well, actually I did mention, but I didn't actually show. So you can see the handle is a bit too short, and if you want to place it higher, it doesn't hold the flintlock pistol very well. Plus the fact that the trigger itself is a whole entire piece, so it sort of hinders the finger a little bit. So the way you have to position the flintlock pistol, you have to make it look like it's aiming straight rather than going to the sides. Furthermore, it tends to pop off from his hand quite easily due to the lack of the handle itself. Let's place him onto the base stand itself. There you have it, Zanzibar, which looks, well, barely resemble the original Zanzibar figure at all. If I'm gonna give a rating out of this, I just really hate the head sculpt. Many of the G.I. Joe collectors who actually bought the Dreadnok Battle Set find this figure rather horrid because it doesn't even remotely look like the original figure. Majority of the figures in the Dreadnok Battle Set there at least look like their, well, original character that was released back in the 80s. This guy here doesn't even remotely look like one, as you can see there. So if I'm going to give a rating for Zanzibar, I'm going to give it a 3 out of 10. Yes, 3 out of 10 for Zanzibar here. It does look a little bit resemblance to the original figure, but it's rather disappointing. The head sculpt is rather disappointing, and the hip joints there is really loose. His accessory there, especially on his shoulder pads there, is kind of awkward to position sometimes. So 3 out of 10 for the Zanzibar figure. I thank you all for watching. This is Lucy05 and I'm signing off.